Chapter 1121. This was way too ridiculous. Mu Feiren stood there with her hand on her forehead. She had known that Black Hawk was a little unpredictable. But it was Lin Che's first time encountering him like this. For a moment, she was slightly stunned. She quickly tugged Black Hawk and asked, "Hey, did you move the entire cafe over here?" Black Hawk looked at his men move the objects inside while saying to Lin Che, "Not really. I just told them to bring their belongings here and have a few staff come along. The coffee won't taste good after it turns cold later. Furthermore, I wasn't sure how much coffee was needed, either. Isn't it great to have them come here and make it?" He was way too generous with his money. Lin Che glared at him. "Wow, why didn't you just open a cafe on set?" Black Hawk asked, "Does the production crew need one? I can make them permanently open shop here." "No, drinking too much coffee is unhealthy too," Lin Che glared at him. Mu Feiren no longer knew what to say. She saw that the production staff were all dumbfounded as well. They wondered what was happening again today. Mu Feiren hastily said, "I'm treating everyone to some coffee, go and choose the flavor you want. I don't know your taste preferences either." Everyone was utterly stunned from shock too. They merely looked in unison at the charming man who had sent the coffee here. The moment they saw Black Hawk, they felt that his masculine aura was immensely overpowering. It subconsciously made them think that he was a walking hormone. "Sister Feiren is so great. She brings us good food and drinks every day. Indeed, we're so fortunate to be in the same crew as Sister Feiren." Everyone was still talking and looking at Mu Feiren. They felt that Mu Feiren had become very courteous after making her comeback. She also loved chatting with others and joking around with them. She seemed much more personable. In comparison to the Mu Feiren of yesterday, they felt that Mu Feiren was much nicer now. Of course, they did not know that Mu Feiren had been with Mo Ding in the past. Mo Ding was in charge of everything and had never asked for her approval. Furthermore, Mo Ding had always kept her on a tight leash. He did not allow others to get close to her and did not want her to have friends. Thus, she came to the set only when she had to film and left when she did not. She basically had very little interaction with people. Mo Ding was also a very stingy person who never bought many things for the people in the production crew. She even felt that these people should be the ones to flatter Mu Feiren. There was no reason for Mu Feiren to be courteous towards them. When Mu Feiren asked about it from time to time, he merely patronized her and forgot about it later on. Now that she had left Mo Ding and was on her own, she was having a pleasant time with the production crew. She thought about the past again. Those days, she always felt that filming was very tiring. Perhaps it was precisely because she did not have a single friend on set. But Lin Che was able to make friends on set. Everyone liked her and would have fun with her, so Lin Che's production crew was just like one big family. Going there would make people very happy. Now, it was the same for her too. Even though she was new here, she was still having a very good and relaxing time. Furthermore, although Black Hawk had gone a bit overboard, he had genuinely considered many things on her behalf and was so understanding. She sighed feelingly for a moment. It was probably the case that before meeting someone who treated you well, you would feel that the person you met was already great. Everyone rushed to get coffee. They felt that this place had truly turned into a mobile coffee shop. Every kind of coffee was made extremely well. Lin Che laughed mischievously and looked at Black Hawk. "Good lord, you're obviously not as attentive towards this younger sister of yours." But Black Hawk was natural and relaxed about it too. He was not uptight at all and stood there. He then said, "You have everything. Gu Jingze has already ingratiated himself sufficiently with you. What else do you need me to do?" Lin Che scoffed. "No need to make excuses. Anyway, valuing sex over friendship is human nature, to begin with." Yes. So, do you have anything else to say?" Black Hawk asked directly. Lin Che was really at a loss for words. But Mu Feiren's face was impossibly red. She looked at the two siblings discuss this right in front of her and did not know what to say. You guys talk first. I'll go in and take a look." Mu Feiren frantically went in while speaking. Lin Che knew that she was shy and did not chase after her either. She looked at Black Hawk instead and asked, "How are you guys doing?" Black Hawk raised his eyebrows. Don't worry, Everything is going according to plan. Lin Che expressed her doubts. Really, why do I feel as if there hasn't been any progress at all? Have you been to their house and stayed the night? Have you kissed? Hee, none of your business. Oh no, so that means you haven't. Black Hawk turned away and ignored her. Lin Che shook her head. It's probably because Mu Feiren is too shy. You're so reserved too. Seriously, you make me worry so much. Why aren't you making preparations to give Union a complete family? Black Hawk did not seem anxious at all. He looked up and seemed to be thinking that a day like that was bound to come anyway. But Lin Che had already started planning in her mind. When they returned home, Lin Che even said to Gu Jingze, I think that Black Hawk and Mu Feiren are progressing way too slowly. Why? Gu Jingze looked up and asked. Lin Che said, Black Hawk gives her presents every day and is thoughtful and nice to her. But he just doesn't say what's in his heart. I understand Feiren's personality too. She's exceptionally shy, and she's not very confident in herself right now. I think that they will probably drag this out for a very long time this way. So you're planning to play matchmaker? Yes, Lin Che continued, our series will be ready for broadcast after about a month of filming. A website has already bought the right to broadcast it. It will have the exclusive right to do so when the time comes. The show will air while filming continues, so I reckon we can start airing it after filming 5 episodes. If the viewer ratings are alright, I'm thinking of inviting them out to enjoy themselves. I'll bring them together that way. Gu Jingze said, are you starting to worry about other people's relationship lives because you have nothing to do right now? They're not just anyone, both of them are the people closest to me. Of course, I'm anxious. What's more, Lin Che wrapped her arms around his neck. It's true that I haven't had much to do recently, she said while smiling mischievously. Gu Jingze said, well then, just arrange it as you wish. You can tell me how you want me to cooperate. But... He looked at Lin Che's belly. In another month, your belly will be much bigger. Yes, I'll be nearly 7 months pregnant then. If you really go out and play, choose a location that's nearer. Okay, in that case, I'll think about it first over the next few days. Gu Jingze looked at her. Besides, are you so sure that the viewer ratings will definitely be very high? Lin Che said, of course. I must have confidence in my own production. I'm confident that our series will definitely have pretty good ratings. No matter how it does, we'll make a profit. With Nan Gongyu leading the production and Mu Feiren acting in it, coupled with the fact that she was doing this to create a quality production, she felt that the viewer ratings were guaranteed. Chapter 11:22, Killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Meanwhile, Gu Jingze was still discussing these matters with Lin Che. Whereas Qin Qing was in a cold war with Shui Mengqi. Recently, Shui Mengqi had been complaining that he was too busy to spend time with her. However, Qin Qing felt that Shui Mengqi was too self-centered and did not respect him. Perhaps it was because Shui Mengqi was a rich young heiress that she did not care about others' feelings and did not really care for Qin Qing's career. Thus, she always asked Qin Qing to drop everything on hand to accommodate her. But Qin Qing did not want to. He still wanted to have his career. Furthermore, he felt that he was doing pretty well too. That day, he had just arrived home when a fragrant and soft body clung onto him. Qin Qing froze before looking at Shui Mengqi. You. Shui Mengqi moved closer and looked at him in a very sickening manner. Qin Qing, you haven't looked for me for the past few days. Didn't you miss me? Qin Qing looked at her. She was dressed only in a translucent piece of clothing. Her exquisite figure was partly hidden and partly visible and was on display right in front of him. Of course, his entire body would heat up. Mengqi. Shui Mengqi immediately tumbled onto the bed with him. The two of them got intimate for some time before getting drenched in sweat. Naturally, their earlier misunderstanding needed no words. Shui Mengqi was simply that smart. She knew how to behave coquettishly to make his anger disappear. Shui Mengqi looked at Qin Qing but ventured, did you miss me over the past few days? Qin Qing said, of course I did. Shui Mengqi said, sometimes, I want to get married. At other times, I don't want to get married. Why? At the mention of marriage, the two of them were naturally very sensitive since they were already in talks to get married. Shui Mengqi said, I want to get married when I see how good the relationship between cousin brother and cousin sister-in-law is. I feel as if marriage seems like quite a good thing. But at the same time, I don't want to get married because I'm afraid that the relationship will turn dull after we get married. Cousin brother and cousin sister-in-law. Qin Qing's expression paused briefly. Shui Mengqi said, why do you think cousin brother treats cousin sister-in-law so well? They've already been married for so many years, but the two of them are still joined at the hip. Previously, cousin brother even fired a secretary who has been with him for 8 years immediately because she had offended cousin sister-in-law. Qin Qing's expression became even more unpleasant. Of course, Shui Mengqi had noticed this. Her heart turned cold too. A man was looking at her but thinking of another woman. Of course, she was unhappy. Seeing that Shui Mengqi did not speak again, Qin Qing averted his gaze and hastily refocused his attention. He said, I will be good to you too. Shui Mengqi leaned against him. Really? Of course I mean it, he said while patting her body. But Shui Mengqi thought to herself, it would be good if he meant it. If he did not then, no one could blame her for being harsh. Subsequently, Shui Mengqi started asking about his work affairs. Qin Qing told her about some of the previous projects. Shui Mengqi immediately cried out in surprise, ah, the project you're talking about seems to be the Gu family's project. Qin Qing said, really? But the Gu family has many projects every year. Shui Mengqi said, in that case, I'll go back and ask for you. If possible, I'll get it just for you. Although Qin Qing did not really like relying on such relationships, this project was a huge one. If he managed to snag it, he would not have to worry about the profit for the whole year. Qin Qing said, I'll have to trouble you then. After becoming the director, he had become much more mature. He knew that there were times when he could not let emotions affect his decisions. Just because he said he did not need to rely on relationships did not mean he did not need to. Because a family, a company, and a huge number of employees were waiting for him to pay their salary. There were so many areas in the company that required money. One huge project could resolve so many things. He would not reject it. Shui Mengqi returned home soon after. I want to know what's happening with Hanlin Ski Resort. This time, Gu Jingze was building a ski resort in the West region. The project was a huge one. In the future, it would even serve as the designated venue for national sporting events, so it was extremely important. Her subordinate immediately said, that project is still open for tender. 80 companies have already bid for it. Doesn't that mean competition is very stiff? Of course. Shui Mengqi huffed. Seems like we can let Qin Qing meet Lin Che a few more times through this. Shui Mengqi's subordinate still did not understand what she was planning to do. Shui Mengqi said, my husband cannot be disloyal to me. I'm killing 2 birds with 1 stone by doing this. First, I can test him. If he genuinely spurns Lin Che, then he will still become my husband. If he doesn't, he and Lin Che will not meet a good end. When the time comes, I will make sure that he and Lin Che die together. If something went awry with Lin Che, then the position of mistress of the household would be hers for sure. So, through this, she could kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Her subordinate asked, in that case, how would you give them chances to meet? I'll go to their house and discuss the matter. The next day, Shui Mengqi went to Qin Qing's house. Her going to the Qin residence was already a common occurrence. She went there many days a week. Qin Qing's mother was extremely courteous and enthusiastic towards her. She tugged at her and kept repeating herself. Shui Mengqi asked in a very natural manner, by the way, Qin Qing mentioned the construction of the ski resort. Oh, you've heard about it too. He's constantly been busy because of this lately. Really, I'm very worried too, but I heard that the competition is quite stiff. We have to trouble you to help Qin Qing too. Of course, his affairs are mine too. My cousin brother is in charge of this matter. Perhaps you guys don't know my cousin brother well. Otherwise, 1 word from him would settle it. Dear me, of course. Do you think you could ask him about it? Qin Qing's mother asked. Shui Mengqi said, my cousin brother is a very secluded person. He definitely won't listen to me. Qin Qing's mother was very disappointed. Then, she said again, if you're talking about who he listens to, he may not even listen to old master. But there's a person whose words he will definitely listen to. Oh, who are you talking about? Lin Che, his wife. He's a henpecked husband, he will definitely obey Lin Che no matter what she says. Lin Che. Was Lin Che so formidable? Although Qin Qing's mother felt terrible as if she had chewed on something that tasted bad, she felt her heart twitch slightly. Lin Che was on very good terms with Qin Qing. If they could snag the project, it would be worth a few $100 million. Over the past few days, Qin Qing had constantly been harming his health over this matter. He could neither eat nor sleep. After Shui Mengqi left, Qin Qing's mother thought for a long time before deciding to discuss with Qin Qing. The moment she saw Qin Qing, she immediately asked, why don't you go and discuss that project with Lin Che? Qin Qing said, Mother, why did you suddenly? Qin Qing's mother said, that's a huge project that's worth so much money. Anything else is secondary. Getting the money is the most important. Since Lin Che is so powerful, just go and talk to her about it. Qin Qing's mother was thinking that it would not matter if they did not get the project after talking to Lin Che about it. But what if they got it? If she doesn't agree, I'll apologize to her. Previously, I made a mistake and said the wrong thing. I'm willing to do anything if she can hand the project over to you. Chapter 1123. We're here to apologize. Mother, that's not what I mean, but... He wondered if it was a good idea to bother Lin Che regarding this matter. Qin Qing's mother said, if not, I can just go there to apologize. I said some pretty nasty things before. It should be fine for me to go and apologize, right? Qin Qing's mother tried to persuade him for a long time. In the end, Qin Qing said, well then apologizing is fine. Secretly, Qin Qing also wanted to meet Lin Che. No matter what the reason was, this way, he would have a reason to meet her. That night, Lin Che was at home with the chef, learning how to cook. Because she had nothing to do, she had run off to the kitchen. All of the kitchen staff were immensely shocked. They were afraid that something would go wrong again as she was currently pregnant. They sent someone to ask Gu Jingze, who said that it was fine. Only then did they let her stay here and learn. But they didn't dare to teach her anything complicated. They started with something simple, merely as a way for her to spend time. However, just then, some sounds traveled in from outside. One of the maids came and said, Madam, Mr. Qin is here. He says that he wants to see you. Confused, Lin Che asked, Mr. Qin? Mr. Qin Qing. When Lin Che stepped out, she never expected Qin Qing to come here with his mother. The moment he saw Lin Che, both of them were slightly at a loss. Lin Che was wearing a white apron that had a few childish polka dots on it. She looked very cute and playful. Her hair was tied up simply. Because she was at home, she had no makeup on and her clothes were very casual too. However, her face was simply beautiful. Her face, which would not disappoint anyone no matter where she went, appeared extremely exquisite at the moment too. For a moment, Qin Qing's breath was taken away because he had never seen Lin Che in her daily life. As for Qin Qing's mother, upon seeing that she was unexpectedly wearing an apron, she wondered if she was actually cooking at home. Was this what Shui Mengqi meant when she said Gu Jingze spoiled her very much? How exactly was this spoiling her? This was how she was at home. Qin Qing's mother glanced at her disdainfully. But she looked around and thought that this place was truly beautiful. It looked majestic upon sight. Staying in a place like this every day would be worth it no matter how she was treated at home. Qin Qing's mother looked at Lin Che and said hastily, Good gracious, Lin Che. You finally came out. We've been waiting here for a very long time. Lin Che looked at the two of them. It seemed that she could not be bothered with Qin Qing's mother. She spoke only to Qin Qing beside her. Are you here for any particular reason? Qin Qing was a little embarrassed. It's nothing. My mother wanted to apologize to you personally. Qin Qing's mother looked at the maids walking to and fro here. She genuinely felt that Lin Che was very lucky to live such a happy life. With so many maids walking around here, didn't it mean that she didn't have to lift a finger here? But why did she still have to cook? Oh, Perhaps it was to curry favor with Gu Jingze, to show that she was a virtuous wife and mother. She was deep in thought when Qin Qing nudged her. Only then did she frantically say, "I'm sorry, Lin Che. I spoke a little out of turn the last time. You know that I have no filter when I speak. I tend to offend people easily. I want to control myself too, but I've never been able to do it. That's why I offended you. I'm genuinely very sorry." An apology. Lin Che thought that perhaps she should accept her apology out of respect for Qin Qing. However, this was not the first time Qin Qing's mother had done such a thing. Furthermore, this time, it seemed that she was definitely not here to offer a sincere apology. Thus, Lin Che looked straight at Qin Qing's mother and smiled grimly. She responded, "Oh, did Auntie do anything to apologize for?" Qin Qing's mother cursed internally while looking at her arrogant expression. What was she acting arrogant about? In the past, she was simply a young lass living in the Lin family's maid quarters. She was always wearing clothes that people discarded. Now that she had made something of herself by accident, she was so arrogant all of a sudden. But now, she did have a favor to ask of her. She had no choice but to willingly lower her head. "I offended you because I spoke out of turn." Lin Che smiled faintly. "You don't look like you're apologizing." Qin Qing's mother was momentarily at a loss for words while looking at her. She did not expect Lin Che to be so arrogant when she had just bowed her head. The way Lin Che was tilting her head and looking at her was so conceited too. Qin Qing's mother was so angry. But she was already here. She could do anything for her son. She quickly said, "I'm truly sorry. Lin Che, you can hit me and shout at me all you want. Anyway, I'm here to apologize to you sincerely. I know that you're living a good life now. You're no longer the Lin Che of the past. You've made something of yourself and you have status now. In the past, I was short-sighted and looked down on you because I was ignorant." "Oh, anything else?" She cocked her head to the side, obviously still dissatisfied. Qin Qing's mother tamped down her anger. She had no choice but to continue saying, "I used to criticize you all the time. It was also because I had bad intentions. I know now that I was wrong. I'll make up for my mistakes. Will that do? I recognize my mistake in reprimanding you in the past. I also recognize my mistake in looking down on you in the past. In the past. You even suspected me of stealing food from your house previously. You even chased me out of your house and prohibited me from looking for Qin Qing in the future because vermin like me was not suited to be friends with Qin Qing. You even told me to keep my dirty hands away and not to touch the food on your family's table." Lin Che added while looking at her. In the past, she had tolerated every single one of those malicious words for Qin Qing's sake. Now that she thought about it, she felt that her words had truly been terrible and made her wretch. The hurt that it caused to her was immense as well, but she had never brought it up and felt that she was merely an unimportant person. She did not have to waste time on her. Since she had come here today to offer an apology, she could not blame Lin Che. If she was going to apologize, she had many other things to apologize for. Qin Qing's mother momentarily did not know what to say. She paused and recalled the words she had said in the past. Naturally, she did not remember anything as she had always been a lofty person. To ordinary people, the Qin family was definitely very wealthy. Everyone was respectful towards her outside and said good things about her, making her feel extremely vain. But she had to lower herself here and even be mocked by Lin Che. It was a pity that their family really could not raise their heads in front of the Gu family. On top of that, they were here today precisely to ask a favor of her. Qin Qing's mother expression was impossibly rigid. She felt that she had never humbled herself to this extent. "You then what else do you want me to do?" Lin Che tilted her head directly. "Frankly, you don't have to say anything. I don't want to listen to your apology because I won't forgive you at all." "What?" Qin Qing's mother finally blew up in anger. "You Lin Che, are you playing with me?" "That's definitely not what I said." Lin Che looked at her. But Qin Qing's mother could no longer withstand it. She nearly rushed at her. "How could you just insult someone like that? Lin Che, I can't believe that you live such a good life in the Gu family. Does Gu Jingze know that you're so uncultured? I already humbled myself and came here to apologize, but you're toying around with me. You. What's going on?" Just then, Gu Jingze's voice came from the doorway. When he found out that Qin Qing was coming, he immediately rushed back only to coincidentally bump into this scene as well. Chapter 1124. I spoiled her rotten. Qin Qing and his mother turned around. When they saw Gu Jingze, they both froze. Gu Jingze stepped in with his long legs. The maids at the side then lowered their heads and bowed to him. The scene truly made them feel that he was beyond respectable. Qin Qing's mother felt her heart jolt as she witnessed it. Lin Che also followed suit and stood up at this moment. She watched Gu Jingze come in and asked, "Why are you back?" Seeing this, Qin Qing's mother wondered what Lin Che meant by her question. She thought that Lin Che was afraid of causing Gu Jingze's unhappiness when he came back. Thus, her eyes immediately darted around and she said, "Mr. Gu, we came here to apologize to her. But she ended up insulting me completely. Perhaps we came at the wrong time. We'll leave right now instead of being a hindrance here. But I must give you a word of advice. When it comes to some women, you may know them for a long time without understanding their true nature." That's exactly how she tried to seduce Qin Qing back then. She didn't succeed in the end and went to seduce someone else. I didn't expect her to actually deceive you now. Gu Jing's eyes turned cold. He was furious at the suggestion that she had seduced Qin Qing. What did you say? Who did she seduce? Gu Jingze walked closer to her bit by bit. Qin Qing had a bad premonition and hastily said, "Well, Mr. Gu, we've trespassed on your hospitality. My mother said something wrong. I'll take her away first." "That's enough, Mr. Qin." Gu Jingze's darkened. It was as if the weight of 1,000 pounds of gold was suddenly pressing on the two of them. Qin Qing's mother immediately felt slightly vexed. Perhaps she should not have pulled Qin Qing into the picture. Well, Mr. Gu, although Lin Che seduced Qin Qing, our Qin Qing never fell for it. Really? Inside, Qin Qing kept cursing. Why was his mother so dumb? Could she not tell that Gu Jingze was so angry only because she had spoken ill of Lin Che? But he would not be able to stop her even if he tried to. He simply should not have believed that she would apologize sincerely. Qin Qing's mother still had something to say, but Gu Jingze said bluntly, "Who exactly do you think Lin Che would choose between myself and your son if we stood together?" Qin Qing's mother froze. Gu Jingze took another step forwards and stared at Qin Qing's mother. "Do you think that she would still take a fancy to your son after being with me?" Undoubtedly, Gu Jingze did not have to make things any clearer. He had already humiliated Qin Qing's mother. At the back, Qin Qing paused. However, he knew that this could not count as an insult because any person would immediately choose Gu Jingze if they were standing in between the two of them. As for Qin Qing's mother, although she felt that her own son was very outstanding, when she stood in front of Gu Jingze, she was unable to praise her son at all. Even she felt the same way. Because Gu Jingze had way too many advantageous qualities after all. Gu Jingze asked, "So why should Lin Che be seducing Qin Qing right now?" Immediately, Qin Qing's mother became less confident. She said, well, I was talking about what happened before she met you. That happened in the past. I don't care, Gu Jingze said bluntly. Qin Qing's mother froze. He did not care. Didn't all men mind such things? Why didn't he mind? She was very obvious in her attempts. She pestered him all the time. So what? Gu Jingze put his arm gently around Lin Che. He looked at her so lovingly as if he was about to drown her in his eyes. Gu Jingze said, "It's already an honor that Lin Che is willing to be with me. I'm lucky to be with her. So what do I have to complain about? The fact that I can have her with me is enough. I don't care about anything else." Any woman would be touched to hear such words. Qin Qing's mother's face darkened. Gu Jingze was such a famous figure. She could not believe he was lowering himself so much for Lin Che. This was enough to prove her wrong. Since he had already said so, what else could Qin Qing's mother say? She could only stand there in a daze for a long time. Then, she looked at him and said, "Well, Lin Che is so boorish too. She even insulted me so badly. So what? No matter what kind of person she is, a crude person, or a bad woman, I still like her. So what if she insulted you? With me around, she can do whatever she wants with confidence. Forget insulting you. In the entire Sea Nation, there may not be anyone she can't insult. This sentence was said in such an imposing manner. Indeed, if others said this, they would be laughed at. But Gu Jingze was the one saying it. Who could even begin to mock him? Gu Jingze actually had that ability. He could also be biased to that extent. He would merely be criticized. But the most important thing right now was whether Gu Jingze had lost all reason. For Lin Che's sake, he did not care about those criticisms. Nor did he care what others thought about him, much less that he was so biased towards Lin Che. He favored her so much. He had already said so. What else could other people say? Gu Jingze looked at Qin Qing's mother as a token gesture. Then, he looked at Lin Che. So, what do you plan to do now? How do you plan to deal with them? He seemed to be saying that he would act according to her wishes no matter what she wanted to do. Qin Qing's mother was shocked when she heard this. She stood there and looked at the two of them with her face deathly pale. Just then, Qin Qing quickly stepped forward. No matter how foolish, she was ultimately his mother. He could not watch someone else punish his own biological mother. Especially. According to the rumors, Gu Jingze's methods of dealing with people were abnormally cruel. Very few of the people whom he had dealt with before ever appeared before. Thus, only those who had been dealt with knew exactly what had happened to them, whereas outsiders only knew about the rumors. Qin Qing hastily said, Lin Che, I'm truly sorry. I thought that my mother came here to apologize. That's why I accompanied her here. She does, in fact, want to apologize too. But that's how she is. I definitely won't let her go out again after I go back. I hope you can let her off this time. Lin Che was genuinely very disappointed in Qin Qing. She looked at Qin Qing and felt that the young boy of the past was really getting further and further away from her. Qin Qing was so indecisive. Even though he was probably better now than he was in the past, even as the head of the entire Qin family, he still was not a decisive man. He was tolerant of everything his own mother did and would not let out a word of complaint. She genuinely felt very angry on his behalf when she saw foolish piety of this sort. His mother had already caused trouble for him so many times. She did not know what to say about the fact that he still believed his mother's words now. Perhaps many ordinary men would behave this way. But she had been with Gu Jingze for a long time, so she always used Gu Jingze's way of thinking as the standard. She felt that everyone should have the same wisdom as he did. However, this was not necessarily the case. Maybe her expectations of Qin Qing were too high and her hopes too grand, so she had gradually become disappointed. Now, she merely felt that there was no way she could save him. Shaking her head, she said to Gu Jingze, forget it. I never want to see her appear in front of me again. Of course, Gu Jingze listened to her and immediately released the two of them. Chapter 1125. Li Mingyu suddenly paid them a visit. As for Qin Qing, he quickly left with his mother in tow. When they arrived outside, he immediately shrugged off his mother's hand and asked, Mother, what did you tell me? Qin Qing's mother was also full of regret right now. You saw what happened too. She deliberately wanted to provoke me. Her objective was to have Gu Jingze punish me. Qin Qing smiled grimly. She was still obstinately going about things the wrong way right now. He no longer wanted to say anything to her. Qin Qing's mother nagged incessantly behind him. Why does Gu Jingze indulge her so much? Why is he so biased towards her? Why does he spoil her so much? He even said that no one in Sea Nation could offend her. She can insult anyone she wants to. Good Lord, how could he say something like that? She simply found it unbelievable and was greatly surprised. Gu Jingze treated Lin Che way too well. What charms did Lin Che have to make Gu Jingze so accepting of her? He treated her so well that it would truly make anyone jealous. How could Lin Che be so lucky to have such a lucky encounter? Qin Qing could not be bothered with her anymore. He scoffed and said, once we go back, don't just go out whenever you want to. If she could not do that, he was truly worried that Gu Jingze would continue to target her after knowing about it. It was preferable for her to stay put at home. At least that way, she would not bring death upon herself, nor would she bring the Qin family to its downfall. Seeing that the mother and son had left, Gu Jingze said to Lin Che, "How do you feel? Did you vent your anger earlier?" Lin Che nodded. Yes, I vented my anger." Gu Jingze walked in with his arm around her. Even if he genuinely did not care who she was going to go against, he had nevertheless deliberately said what he had said earlier. The more arrogantly he said it, the angrier they were. Thus, Lin Che Gu Jingze enjoyed the expressions on their faces. They were obviously furious, but there was nothing they could do about it. In reality, Gu Jingze would not let her cause trouble so blindly. She would never do something like insult people randomly either. They both knew this, so they coordinated with each other extremely well earlier. Lin Che sighed and said to Gu Jingze, "I really wonder why Qin Qing is already grown up and looks extremely successful, but still behaves so indecisively at times. I can't believe he actually thought that his mother would really come here and apologize to me. How could he be so trusting of his mother?" Gu Jingze said, "There are several reasons for his success too. For instance, the Qin family is confident. Secondly, he has always had very good luck. It's easier for people who have succeeded to succeed even more. It's enough that everyone trusts him, but he must have some weaknesses in several aspects. Otherwise, the Qin family would not be stuck where they are but instead expand even more. Several families reach a bottleneck after progressing to a certain stage, precisely because they still haven't done enough." Lin Che cocked her head to the side and asked, "So, what you mean is that the Gu family was able to develop so well because you're good at everything?" Gu Jingze raised his eyebrows. "What do you think?" He was the only person capable of such a covert way of bragging. "Tech, you're really becoming more and more shameless now." "Humph. Yes, I'm capable of doing things that are even more shameless, much less this." He moved slightly closer. He placed his hand on Lin Che's face and caressed it. After violating the rule he had set for himself the last time and starting to touch her, he was unable to control himself when it came to certain things. If it happened once, it would happen a second time. But he tried his best not to be too forceful. It was enough for him to satisfy himself a bit. He dared not ask for more either. The next day, Qin Qing called Lin Che early in the morning. Seeing that he was calling, Lin Che pondered for a bit before picking up. After all, it was his mother who had scolded her and not him. Qin Qing's voice sounded slightly dejected. It was extremely deep and low and was full of guilt. "Lin Che, I'm truly sorry for what happened yesterday. I really thought that my mother was coming over to apologize to you. I thought that no conflict is unresolvable, so I agreed. But she..." Lin Che no longer wished to give him any advice. Sometimes, being completely disappointed in someone did not mean that you had to reprimand him and hit him. If you actually reprimanded and hit him, it meant that you still genuinely wanted him to change. But now, she no longer wanted to do anything. There was nothing she wanted to do and nothing she wanted to say either. She did not care what he wanted to do. This was a complete disappointment. Lin Che said, "It's fine." Qin Qing said, "Thank you, Lin Che. I'm truly sorry. I was afraid that you would be angry and those things you said in the past. Did my mother actually say those things to you?" Lin Che paused. She no longer wanted to recall the things that had happened in the past. Anyway, they had long passed. If she continued harping on them, she would appear to be so petty. "It doesn't matter anymore. I only talked about it to make her remember and aware that it was definitely not her first time offending me. She did it so many times in the past." Qin Qing felt even more guilty. "I'm sorry. It really doesn't matter. Qin Qing, go ahead with your work. It's time for me to go too." "Sure, I'll treat you to a meal next time as penance." "All right, when the opportunity arises." Lin Che hung up the phone. Just then, a maid came in from outside and said, "Madam, a man called asking for you." "What?" "He called the house phone, probably because he doesn't have your number. But he said that he's very close to you. He even said that you would know once we told you his name." "What's his name?" Lin Che was genuinely very confused. "Li Mingyu." Puff. Lin Che hastily went over to pick up the phone. Why had this guy called out of the blue? Over the phone, Li Mingyu said, "Hey, I finally found you. Aren't you going to come to pick me up now?" "What, pick you up?" From the airport, where else? Puffed, you're in C Nation. You don't say. Lin Che frantically rushed to the airport. Sure enough, Li Mingyu had arrived. He was there with the future of his family in tow. The child stood at the side in a very obedient manner. He was so shy that it made her heart ache. Upon seeing Lin Che, he said, "Dear me, it's so difficult to find you." Seeing that he was too eye-catching standing there, Lin Che hastily pulled him away first. The Gu family had an exclusive waiting room here. They also had their own parking lot. She brought him there first and said, "Why did you call my house number? How can you have the cheek to say that? I can't believe you didn't leave me your number given our relationship." Indeed. Their relationship, the way they met each other each time, was a little strange. She never remembered to leave him her number too. He said, "Luckily, I'm smart and knew to call your house number. Otherwise, who would I seek shelter from after coming here? That's enough. You have so much money. Even without me, you're a rich man. You can go anywhere in B City and do anything you want. I'm not as rich as you. Hee hee. If I come here, I will definitely eat your food and have your drinks. I'll follow your plans, so tell me, where will you bring me?" Lin Che first took him to the hotel owned by the Gu family. After settling them down, she wanted to ask him why he was here in B City. Li Mingyu said, "It's all because Gu Jingze stopped the policy recently. He's not planning to suppress me in C Nation, so I'm coming to C Nation to develop my career." Come to think of it, he had not expected Gu Jingze to actually be so magnanimous because he had helped Lin Che out this time and saved her. Gu Jingze was no longer going to fixate on things that had happened in the past. Lin Che's charm was actually so overpowering. Chapter 1126. The TV show is about to hit the stage. Li Mingyu said, "So, I thought that since I'm back in C Nation, I had to come and greet the top dog here first. That is why you're the first person I'm seeing. Please, don't think so highly of me. I'm not some top dog. Ha, with Gu Jingze supporting you, you can do anything you want in C Nation, can't you?" Lin Che shot him a look. He said, "I'm staying here for the time being. We'll talk again when I buy a place tomorrow." Tesk. Wealthy people were wealthy, indeed. They could simply declare such things easily. This kind of person who bought what he wanted wherever he went was sassy. She asked, "What about Wei Wei? What was going to happen to Li Wei? Someone had to take care of him." She would not believe that Li Mingyu could take care of someone else. Li Mingyu said, "I'll leave him to you." Lin Che was dumbfounded. How could he be such a father? Li Mingyu asked, "Aren't you his godmother? Furthermore, I can't take care of a kid by myself. Babysit him for a couple of days while I get a house and find some maids tomorrow. By then, he'll have someone to take care of him. Also, which kindergarten does that little devil of yours go to? I'll send him there as well." Oh my, that kindergarten was going to be lively now. Black Eagle's daughter, Gu Jingze's son, and now, Li Mingyu's son would be there. If outsiders knew about this, the kindergarten would blow up in popularity. But Li Mingyu did not reveal that he had already made up his mind at home. If possible, he would come and settle down in C Nation. It was because he really looked up to that little devil of the Gu family. He wanted his son to learn from him at all costs. Even if he couldn't become like the little devil, he could at least learn a few things. Lin Che had no other choice. She looked at Li Wei, who was standing there. She thought that it was rather pitiful for him to have such a dad. It would be better to take him home with her. The maids would help to take care of him and she would also help. Together, they would certainly be better than Li Mingyu alone. She took Li Wei home and told Gu Jingze everything. Gu Jingze replied, "I know that he's here." Lin Che asked in surprise, "Really?" He nodded plainly and said, "From the moment he entered the country, I already knew. The customs would naturally inform me if someone like him entered the country." Okay. His little actions would cause a lot of people to stir too. Just like Gu Jingze, he would definitely attract attention wherever he went. She understood this. He said, "People will always change, especially in business. We can be enemies one day and friends the next day. Since he wants to be friends now, we'll let him." Well, about the child. That child was also Mo Hilling's child. She wondered if Gu Jingze would be concerned about this. Gu Jingze said, I'm not that kind of person. Why would I make things difficult for a child? Before he is anybody's child, he is a person. I will respect every person's character. Since he has done nothing wrong, I won't put someone else's past mistakes on him. Lin Che smiled, knowing that Gu Jingze was like this. She said, okay, I'll make arrangements for his accommodation. As Li Mingyu was busy settling down over the next few days, she also helped him a lot. After that, they started filming for the TV drama. She had to oversee the editing as well as the publicity. The TV series was initially named, Surprising Little Nichang. It was about a time-traveling little girl named Nichang who traveled through ancient times to save lives. When they started promoting the show, people immediately gained interest and discussed it passionately. Firstly, they thought that the theme was rather interesting. It was a short series on time traveling that was both comedic and full of emotions. It seemed like a multi-layered drama and many people began to anticipate it. And their method of broadcasting while they filmed also made people anticipate the show. This kind of method had a low success rate, to begin with, but Lin Che was different. At a time like this, her connections still came in handy. Once people heard that it was filmed by Yu Minmin's company, many instantly paid attention to it. Other companies were very envious. If only they had the same abilities. However, they did not know that success through networking was actually very stressful too. She had to do a good job that completely fulfilled the requirements to pass. Only then would she be able to shut those naysayers up and not embarrass herself. But no matter what, the TV drama was already approved now and everything was ready. All they were left with was the editing. Everyone also anticipated Mu Feiren's comeback highly, but there were few voices who objected to it. They felt that Mu Feiren's comeback show should have been a major drama. How could it be a web series like this? And it was a comedy at that. Does Mu Feiren need money so much that she'll accept a show like this? Has Mu Feiren's value dropped? She must have been scammed and duped by her friend. Many netizens spewed such nonsense. They looked down on Mu Feiren's and Lin Che's new show. However, Lin Che was not bothered by them. They filmed the show wholeheartedly and it was definitely a good production. It wasn't one that cut costs and materials. Furthermore, they did not invest a lot in actors and the actors were not extravagantly paid. Thus, most of the budget was spent on operations. But before they could publish their trailer, another website suddenly publicized their new web series. It was a show focused on intellectual property. They said that they had filmed it a long time ago, but they hid it for a long time. Nobody knew who filmed it. Now, they released a trailer. After that, they released the feature posters of one cast member at a time. That was a spiritual drama that was extremely popular at the beginning. It was a thought-provoking spiritual drama that was refreshing and enjoyable to watch. They released a feature poster one day and everyone was intrigued. They felt that the show was going to start airing so unexpectedly and it was simply too fine. The poster was very attractive. The IP show was already hyped up. Now, it was stirring more waves before it was broadcasted. Upon closer look, Lin Che and the crew then realized. Wasn't this show produced by Glorious Star? Glorious Star Entertainment was the company that competed with Lin Che's company before. They were later suppressed and it was a slap to their faces. But it was just a slap on the face. They naturally survived well after that. Otherwise, how could they release a show to rival Lin Che's right now? Wasn't it to steal Lin Che's show's spotlight? The company people were more infuriated by this sneaky tactic. If their opponent had the guts, they should compare viewership instead. But viewership and publicity were very much related. That was certain. Lin Che comforted everyone. They indeed picked the right time such that there would be hype. It was also due to their impressive publicity skills. What the company could do now was to battle against them and give whatever they had. Everyone heard this and started thinking of ideas. It was rather late already, but they immediately gathered some information about their rival. Know thyself and thy adversary to win 100 battles. Chapter 1127. Producing a TV show is too difficult. This time, Glorious Star used a recently popular actor along with some newcomers. This classic method of a veteran letting newcomers had been used incisively. When they started releasing the different characters, it already made people feel that it was very refreshing and easy to talk about. It was a good way to guarantee high viewership and a stable fan base. Lin Che's company actually also used this method. Mu Feiran was accompanied by the company's newcomers. However, someone else had now taken the first spot and it was frustrating. These newcomers were extremely nimble. As the TV show was about to be aired, they also began to post on Weibo to create hype. Glorious Star also posted on Weibo for their own show. But in their post, they even hinted an insult by saying, "We don't have the same abilities as some other companies and we don't have any backing, but we have our own principles and our own abilities." This meant that they were probably jealous of Lin Che's company to be able to film and broadcast the show at the same time to create hype. However, they also mocked them for being able to do so because they had a backing. If you want to develop yourself, you should concentrate on yourself. What was the meaning of stepping on others? Of course, Lin Che ignored this. Lin Che's office also did not retaliate directly. They only released their own trailer quietly. The trailer was not at all exaggerated. They only consisted of edited scenes of some of the characters, coupled with good music. It had the style of a big film. It was not dramatic, it only focused on being effective. The audience could immediately see the exquisite costumes and beautiful scenery. Once again, this was a ruthless slap to their opponent's face. What was a high-quality show? They produced the show with their hearts. It was not something that could pass with some backing like what they said. The netizens watched and were amazed by the styling and outfits. It was done so beautifully. It was not cumbersome, but it was very delicate. It was not like some period dramas where the costumes had modern elements and the plot would suddenly jump for no reason. Otherwise, it would be too cumbersome and costumes involved heavy headgear that looked too tiring. Mu Feiran's simple outfit made people feel that she was reserved, pretty, and absolutely gorgeous. Although she was already approaching 30 years old, she still looked as young as an 18-year-old girl. She emanated a lovely energy. Most people have never seen Mu Feiran act in a show like this. In an instant, they felt that it was fresh. Originally, they did not have high expectations and thought that she was not suited for this kind of role. Now, they felt that they were too narrow-minded. Many actors looked like whatever role they acted. The ones not used to it were the audience, not the actors. Very soon, Glorious Star also made a move. They released their extremely stunning trailer. It looked like an extremely beautiful trailer. Accompanied by melancholic music, it felt very romantic. Lin Che's employees asked unjustly, "Aren't they intentionally picking a fight? They do whatever we do. Seriously." One production's show had a shocking style, while the other had a sad style. This stage really had a lively battle. After that, because the two companies had different platforms buying their web series, the two different websites began competing as well. One did a big screen advertisement while the other bought a subway advertisement. One began doing interviews, while the other started doing articles. The internet also started voting for the two web series. Which one looked more promising? It was not long after that Glorious Star wanted to snatch the market and release the show a week earlier. Originally, this script was also huge in its genre. The novel already made people anticipate it. When the web series was released, naturally, many people clicked on it. In a short time, ratings for this web series broke records. Lin Che's office was angry. However, they were also very envious of their initial rating. They didn't fake it, right? Seriously, they snatched the right timing. They simply released it early without giving a heads up. However, everyone was indeed envious as they watched their opponent's rating rise up. The frustrating part was that the production for the first few episodes of Surprising Little Nichang was not completed yet. They still needed another 2 weeks before they could release the show. They could only watch helplessly as their opponent's rating broke records. The female lead also gained instant fame and she was praised like an angel. People said that she was a rare beauty. Her face was exquisite and there was not a single flaw on her. They even compared her with Lin Che and said that she was absolutely the next Lin Che. Lin Che's office staff heard this and were even angrier. They could stir up their own matters for publicity, but they actually involved Lin Che in it. Once the web series was up, activities, publicity, and programs would definitely come in continuous waves. It was just that although the rating was not bad, there were a lot of backlashes too. The trailer they released initially was too beautiful. However, the entire show could not compare to that at all. There were a lot of subpar effects and repeated plots. They also changed the novel until it was very messy. It made many fans extremely disappointed. They anticipated it at the beginning but were later disappointed. Especially with how they placed so many modern advertisements within a period drama. It was really out of place. But at this time, the ratings were already up and they did not care about the negative feedback. They already got the money they wanted anyway. The names were already out as well. In the domestic setting, many TV shows were like this. The backlash and ratings rose up together. The number of negative feedback was equivalent to how famous it was. Lin Che observed from home and also felt angry for a while. However, she had seen her own post-production film. She was worried that even though they gave their best effort, they could not surpass their opponent. Because she got too fired up with anxiety, she had a boil on her mouth. Gu Jingze got up early and gave her some medicine. Looking at the boil on her lip, he shook his head and said, "What are you so anxious about? The show is already filmed and the rating is not something you can control." Lin Che also felt awful. "It's not like I want to be anxious. It's just that looking at it makes me mad. This glorious star company is so annoying. I can't believe they stepped in right now. They obviously have something against us." It was the summer vacation and the best season for ratings to increase exponentially. They also wanted to take advantage of the summer vacation, but they were met with an unexpected roadblock. Gu Jingze said, "If you can't put yourself in the right state of mind, you shouldn't be producing TV shows in the future. Don't run a company either. This kind of thing is going to happen again in the future. Are you going to be this worried every single time?" Lin Che pouted. "This is my first time in the future. Well, I really don't want to produce TV shows in the future too. It's so infuriating." Although she said that, she continued working on the show seriously. Lin Che kept the company on schedule and unaffected by others. They had to follow their own pace. Not long after, the post-production for the show was finally completed. Lin Che and Mu Feiren watched the final product and were very satisfied. They took a photo together and posted it on Weibo. Chapter 11:28 The TV show blew up. They only took a photo of their upper bodies, so the belly was naturally hidden. Lin Che had not posted anything on Weibo for some time. Now, this sudden post attracted quite a bit of attention. Many people asked her what she was up to recently and why she was not acting. Did she quit the entertainment industry? Why hadn't she appeared? But seeing her with Mu Feiren, they also immediately thought that the two ladies were collaborating on a show. Thus, many people asked about it and when it was going to be released. This opened up some hype, laying the groundwork for the first broadcast on Tuesday. However, this level of hype was much lower than what Glorious Star had for their show. Many people reminded Lin Che on Weibo that Glorious Star's Glory was still broadcasting. Lin Che should release her show later and not compete with them. The fans had her interest at heart. They did not want Lin Che to compete and end up losing the battle. But Lin Che's company already confirmed the schedule and they did not want to make any changes for any reason. Anyway, as Gu Jingze said, they already filmed the show. What happened after that would be up to the audience. Within a few days, it was finally time for their show to be released. The web series was uploaded and ready to be released for viewing on time at 8 p.m. that night. Instantly, their partner website played the commercial for their TV show. The moment they clicked on it, they would be able to see the promotional poster. They released an episode with a bonus episode to introduce to the audience what was meant by filming and broadcasting at the same time. Instantly, the rating for the first episode began rising. Since this was Mu Feiren's first drama for her comeback, the first episode's click rate was not bad, but whether it would get better or gradually fall later would depend on how the show fared. Everyone held their breaths and watched as the clock struck 12. The click rate already broke through 80 million. This made everyone much more relieved. After all, there was no such thing as loud thunder leading to little rain. If the click rate could not go above 10 million, then this show would be doomed. But it was still not certain whether it could outcompete Glorious Star Entertainment's Glory. The media was also keeping an eye on this show. The moment they saw the click rate, they were secretly puzzled. They went onto the website themselves and realized that this web series was really done pretty well. Within half an hour, the story was compact and the scenes were funny. Some secondary scenes kept the audience glued to the screen. At the same time, the main storyline was sufficient. It made people want more. Comments soon came out online. Some said that Mu Feiren's performance was indeed a pleasant surprise. Originally thinking that she was not suited for this type of role, not a hint of Mu Feiren leaked through Lin Che's character. The audience could only see a playful heroine and everyone liked her. And the beautiful production also made people feel that this show was truly made with conscience, unlike Glory, which only made a nice poster. The quality of the former's poster and trailer were completely the same as in the actual show. It was not so obvious if one just looked at Lin Che alone. But since there was Glory as a comparison, the result was much more obvious. That was clearly a high-quality production, not some slipshod work. Everyone's verbal evaluation on the internet immediately came out. Releasing 2 episodes a week was clearly not enough for people. The next day, the click rate increased twofold. It was now at an astonishing 160 million. At the same time, everyone watched the pilot episode and knew that they filmed and broadcasted the show at the same time. Demands for them to quickly film the show also increased. Speculations about what would happen next, as well as requests for the production crew to let the audience dictate the plot, also increased. In a short time, the discussion on the internet overshadowed Glorious Star's Glory. The rating also exceeded that for Glory. Glory was also mainly a weekly series that released 2 episodes a week. The episodes were released at a different time from Lin Che. Lin Che released episodes on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, while Glory released episodes on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Logically, they would not clash, but everyone who watched Lin Che immediately felt that Glory was not as nice. The folks at Glorious Star were probably hopping mad. However, they could not blame anybody. After all, they wanted to release their show before Lin Che, so they anxiously produced the show. As a result, the final product looked obviously rushed. The viewers now were not fools either. They could tell what was done well or not. Of course, they would choose the one that was made properly. Hype could be created for a while, but it could not sustain viewership. That was for certain. Once opinions deteriorated, the viewership for Glory soon fell. Now, it was Glorious Star's turn to be anxious. The people who looked down on Lin Che and her show also started to regret their decisions. Because of this trial, the show's director, Nan Gongyu, once again became famous. Everyone wanted to interview him and ask what was the specific operation of this mode of filming and broadcasting at the same time. They also wanted to ask him what made him decide to direct this show, and if he expected it to turn out so well and get so well received. However, Nan Gongyu was still busy shooting and had no time for any interviews. The other directors saw it and also never thought this would happen. Back then, Lin Che had to approach every single director. They were worried that the show was not good, so they rejected her. Now, they felt that Nan Gongyu became the first person to direct this kind of TV series and he has gained a good reputation for himself. Because of their hesitance, they missed the chance to direct a highly rated series. It was a pity. But it was too late for regrets now. Lin Che received many congratulatory calls. She used to receive all these well wishes as an actor. Receiving these calls for her first production now left Lin Che with mixed emotions. However, she could not deny that she was happy. To achieve this level of success also cheered her up significantly. Unfortunately, her belly was getting bigger and she could not move around too much. She had to appear less at the production set to avoid any mishaps. Gu Jingze also was by her side regularly. He even went to his company less because of her pregnancy. Lin Che wanted to say that she was fine, but Gu Jingze stubbornly stayed by her side, serving her tea and water daily. She could not do anything about it. For a big CEO like Gu Jingze to deliver warm water all the way to her side, Lin Che was really moved. Looking at Gu Jingze, she said, "Tell me. You're a big CEO and if you do this, do you know how embarrassed I'll be?" Gu Jingze said, aren't you a top dog now? Taking care of you is my honor. Ha, you still can mock others. Lin Che looked at him in surprise. Chapter 1129. Why do only men like to hang around Lin Che? He placed the cup at the side and sat down next to Lin Che. Was what I said wrong? Lin Che felt that the success of this TV series could be expected, but she never thought that it would turn out so well. It still felt surreal to her. However, Gu Jingze knew that she would definitely succeed. He always knew. Lin Che was always so silly, but she was very talented in some aspects. Gu Jingze knew that as long as she did it seriously, she would succeed. She also had some acuity in this area. Of course, she was also extremely lucky. For example, this time, if the other company did not make a trash show, her show wouldn't have appeared much better in comparison. The comments probably wouldn't have been this positive and there might have been bad reviews. There was luck in play. Meanwhile, Mu Feiren was in the same situation. Originally, being in her first show since her comeback already attracted much attention. She did not expect to gain so much at once. Naturally, more reporters wanted to contact her for an interview. Mu Feiren felt as if her cell phone was going to burst from all the calls. She deliberately made her agent block many of them. The company actually arranged programs for the crew. The 2 programs were also carefully selected, as there were many programs looking for them now and they were spoiled with numerous choices. Thus, they naturally chose 2 that had a good reputation and high viewership. They were not going to join the rest of the programs because, firstly, they did not have enough time for every one of them. Secondly, they were afraid that being on too many programs would cause a reverse effect on the audience. After all, filming was still their priority. Filming and broadcasting at the same time were just this troublesome. The timeline was tight and since they had to maintain standards, everyone had to work overtime in groups. Mu Feiren was also too busy to deal with the media. She only accepted 1 interview. During the interview, she was generous and appeared just as powerful as before. But now, she also felt a lot more relaxed and people saw that she seemed to be in a much better place. She was a little tired out, but she was still very happy. Reporters in the past always feared that she would throw a tantrum, because the moment they saw her, they thought that she was in a bad mood. But Mu Feiren actually never threw a tantrum before. No matter how upset she would always cooperate nicely. Now, although she was so busy and tired every day, she felt good. This naturally made her look more relaxed. In the program, she beamed at the reporter and said, "It must have been hard on you guys too. You had to come all the way here to film with us." The reporter quickly said, "Not at all. I heard that we're the only ones who could interview you. After all, the show is really on fire and you are all busy filming in hopes that the audience can watch the subsequent episodes soon. We understand that it can be very demanding and tiring, so we definitely wanted to suit your timing. Otherwise, the audience would probably want to kill us too." The reporter was naturally very happy. It was good enough that they could conduct the interview. Who cared how far they had to travel? The reporter looked at Mu Feiren. "Your first comeback show is so impressive now. You really stopped the doubtful questions. Did you think that the show would be such a hit?" "Of course, I thought it would be amazing, but I really never thought that it would be true. Filming what we wanted to film with our hearts and gaining something of my own is enough." "What would you like to say to the audience now?" "I hope the audience will continue paying attention to us. Our show is only going to get more exciting. Every episode is stunning and your favorite princely king will show some skin in every episode. Oh my, I shall not reveal any more." She was talking about the show's male lead. In the show, he was a princely king. Now, he was beyond happy. His first role as the male lead was so successful and he gained instant fame. His future path to stardom could immediately take a turn for the better. Overnight fame was probably like this. While there was a fiery interview here, the atmosphere at Glorious Star was not so good. At Glorious Star's office, CEO Fu Lina smacked the table. "Look at these, guys. They surpassed us. What is the meaning of this?" No one dared to speak. They only mumbled. They didn't pressure so tightly, of course, their production would be good. Exactly, and Lin Che's reputation for her works has always been good. And they don't lack money. Fu Lina did not hear these words. She only fumed as she watched the data and smacked the table. Our investors want us to produce results. Now, our rating has already lost out. We can forget about that. Humph. No matter how good Mu Feiren is, she's already getting old and there'll be many limitations. Our Wang Zhu is now gaining popularity and the show has not ended. Let's hit the iron while it's hot and quickly promote her. Humph. Lin Che doesn't appear nowadays either. Now that they only have Mu Feiren and that new guy, they can't compare with us. Let's take this opportunity to squash them and take the top spot. The employees could only secretly be doubtful. How could they compare their own newcomer with Mu Feiren? But since their boss wanted to do it, they also knew that Wang Zhu had someone at the top. That is why the company had to promote her. They had to spend a lot of money and used up all their resources for her. When Lin Che saw that her show had achieved success, she was not so anxious anymore. She handed everything to the company while her belly grew bigger and bigger. All she wanted to do was to rest well and prepare for the baby. At the same time, Li Mingyu also already settled down. When Gu Jingze came in, he saw Lin Che just put down the phone. He asked her, what happened? Li Mingyu said, Li Mingyu is really sending his child to Nianyan's kindergarten. Really? I saw him preparing to find a place to set up his company, Gu Jingze said. Lin Che repeated, a company. Gu Jingze nodded. He wants to move a branch to C Nation. He just found a real estate for his company's building. Alright, I guess he's really settling down here. Gu Jingze said, as long as he stays obedient, I won't stop him either. Lin Che sighed. Will he be able to? I think that would be a little difficult. But he doesn't seem like he would do anything to harm us. It's just him. He just somehow comes across as weird. Gu Jingze pressed her shoulder. Furthermore, if we don't agitate him, you can easily make friends with him. It's also because you do indeed need some connections. With such connections around, you will have more confidence in the family. Lin Che looked at him. Are you talking with regards to Shui Mengqi? Yes, she has some prestige in every family clan. More importantly, she has a better relationship with the womenfolk in every clan. Talking about it also made Gu Jingze exasperated. Lin Che did not get along with those women as well. The ones she got along with were all these men. Why were these men already hovering around her? However, he also believed that Lin Che did not have any problem. It could only be said that these men were the problem. Gu Jingze thought that Lin Che was loud and boisterous, so she probably could not click well with these women. Meanwhile, it was probably her pure and simple character that allowed her to easily turn these men into good buddies. Chapter 11:30 Going out for a walk is advantageous for labor. But Lin Che had not thought about these things. I haven't seen her do anything recently. Try not to think so much too. I brought it up to you randomly. You should focus on maintaining your health right now. Lin Che caressed her belly. She did not know that her figure was very terrifying at the moment. She was still so skinny, but her stomach was so big. It looked worrying. Recently, even the maids looked at her very cautiously. They were much more careful than they had been in the past. Gu Jingze did not want to make Lin Che worry by saying anything further. As he looked at her body now, he merely felt that she would fall at any moment. Such a huge belly weighed down on such a small body. He genuinely felt terrible looking at her. Thus, Gu Jingze did not say anything. He felt that the more silent it was, the more strange he felt instead. He was afraid that they were doing something in secret, things they were not privy to. Therefore, they had to keep a closer eye on the people around Lin Che. The closer they got to the due date, if something important cropped up, they would not be able to deal with it properly. Then, they would be doomed. If that happened, Gu Jingze would definitely not be able to forgive himself. In the afternoon, Lin Che went out for a stroll. At a time like this, she could not stay in her room all the time. She still had to go out and walk around to aid the labor process. The closer she approached her due date, the more she could not be complacent. Otherwise, she would suffer when it was time to give birth. Gu Jingze knew this too, so he also approved that Lin Che went out for a stroll. But she had to go to a safe place. She could not go somewhere far away. Lin Che and Yu Minmin had agreed to meet nearby. But on her way there, Yu Minmin decided not to go. She herself did not mind. Yu Minmin's child had suddenly fallen ill and they had called her home urgently. Naturally, children were the top priority. She completely understood this too. Since Yu Minmin had left, Lin Che did not want to go anywhere else. She continued walking around there. In the past, she had seen a porcelain store while walking around. So, she went in to take a look. Just then, Mu Feiren suddenly called. She picked up her phone and asked, "Aren't you filming today? How come you have the time to call? I wanted to ask how long it is until your expected due date. No matter how busy I am, I can't forget about this." "Oh, I have 1 month left. It's still early," Lin Che said. "You don't have much time left. You have to prepare everything that you'll need. But you probably have nearly everything prepared at home too." I just checked a few days ago. Everything is ready." Lin Che smiled and asked, "Are you still as busy filming as before? I haven't been able to go and look at the final product recently. But Nan Gongyu is probably doing a great job. There isn't anything for me to worry about, right?" "Yes, Nan Gongyu has been on the brink of madness recently. He's in a rush all the time. He will supervise the editing right after filming. He's literally doing the jobs of 2 people. If so, it looks as if I should find another director to assist him. Indeed, it's too tiring for him alone. But it won't be easy to find a director who can keep up with his pace either." Lin Che stood there and considered it for a moment. She turned around but did not expect to bump into something with a thud. "Good gracious, you broke something of ours," someone shouted from behind. Lin Che turned around. As she had said, a blue porcelain piece had smashed into pieces on the ground. The shop employee quickly ran over. She looked up only to see that the person was actually Lin Che. Initially, she thought that her eyes weren't working. She took a closer look and saw that it was indeed Lin Che, but her belly was so big. She had already guessed that Lin Che had retired because she was pregnant. Lin Che hastily said, "I'm so sorry. I didn't do it on purpose. Quick, check how much it is. I'll compensate you for it." The employee's eyes darted around before she looked at the porcelain piece on the ground. In reality, it was not anything expensive. It was the cheapest kind of porcelain in this store, probably just $20,000. But this was also a large amount to them. They would get a commission of only $60 for each piece they sold. Their salary was so low too. The moment she saw Lin Che, she came up with a devious idea. She said to Lin Che, "Wait a moment. I'll go in and ask how much this is. Later, I'll sell it to you at the purchase price, all right?" Lin Che smiled and said, "I would be grateful for that." The employee went in, pulled another staff towards her, and said, "The person outside is Lin Che." "Ah, really? No way. Her belly is so huge." "Yes, it looks like she hasn't been acting because she's going to give birth." "I really didn't expect that." "Yes, she broke one of our items. I think we can," she said something softly. The other employee was a little fearful after listening to her. "No way, this is only $20,000. If we say it's so expensive. It's broken anyway, so it will be the price we say it is." "Will she know which one it is? She was the one who broke it in the first place. Besides, celebrities are so rich. Apparently, they can earn tens of thousands of dollars with a brief appearance. She's so famous, she must be even richer than that. But what if she refuses to? She has so many people following her. Why would she refuse to? It just so happens that she's pregnant right now. She definitely won't want us to leak this information. Otherwise, she would be worried about it. Since she didn't tell the media, I suppose she wants to hide it. Now, you can say that we have something on her. If she wants to stop us from spreading this information, she has to pay up willingly. Otherwise, she will be done for if this issue blows up." The other person agreed after thinking about it. A trivial issue concerning a celebrity would become a major problem once it spread on the internet. "Then, what should we do now?" "Just watch." The employee went out. Seeing that Lin Che was still waiting there, she said to her, "Lin Che, right? We looked at the price. Its intrinsic value is $400,000. So expensive." Lin Che looked around. This place did have numerous expensive porcelain pieces. But this one looked quite small. She did not know how much it was. She looked at the piece beside it, which was of a similar size. It was merely a few $10,000. She said, "In that case, do you have a price tag I can look at?" The employee said, "No. We only have one of each piece." Lin Che said, "Then, how would I know if you're telling the truth or lying?" Although she was the one who had broken it, she could not simply give them the money in a daze either. She was not that stupid. Sensing the situation, the employee immediately pulled a long face. "Our shop has a reputation. Furthermore, all else aside, you did in fact break our item. The fact that we're making you compensate for the purchase price is pretty good. Our store usually charges the price of 3 for every 1 piece stolen, 2 for every piece broken. We do this precisely to prevent people from coming here and randomly touching our items. The objects in our shop are all very expensive." Lin Che scoffed and looked at her. "What do you mean? Are you saying that asking me to compensate you for the purchase price is an honor for me?" The employee said, "Of course it is. Lin Che, you better pay up quickly. Otherwise, you'll get into trouble when our manager comes. This isn't an ordinary incident. Such an expensive item was broken. If the matter blows up later, no one will be able to suppress it."